Well, welcome back. Hopefully you've had a great connections week so far. We'll go ahead and get started. The first part of this presentation will be informed by a video, and then the second part will be a little bit more informal, and we'll have some conversation, informal conversation about some of the work that's going on with the 3G and 8P initiative here at the college. So want to just get you set up for what's in store. We certainly are delighted. In our current environment, it's more important than ever to recognize the remarkable dedication of our faculty and staff. You're not only devoting extra time, extra energy to redesigning how you deliver your classes and services to students, but at the same time, you're going above and beyond to support students who need to master both their class content and in many cases, a whole new way of working and learning and being, quite frankly. The Chancellors Award for Exemplary Teaching was founded by Chancellor Joby Rushing in 1986 to recognize exactly this kind of extraordinary commitment to the foundational mission of TCC, providing affordable and open access to quality teaching and learning. In the words of Chancellor Rushing, this award is not intended to accomplish the impossible by rewarding every example of excellence. It is designed to honor some who consistently perform at the highest level, provide a goal for all, and serve as an endorsement for the primary mission of Tarrant County College. For practical examples of how faculty continue supporting the primary mission of TCC during the transition to remote learning, type "shine a light" into the search box at Inside TCC. This series of short instructional videos has been developed by your peers to share their tips on supporting and engaging students remotely. And if you have a strategy you'd like to share, contact the Center for Teaching and Learning about making your own video tip. As you all know, ordinarily, we would recognize the Chancellor's Award winners or nominees at the Chancellor's Breakfast. This year has been anything but ordinary, requiring us to be remarkably adaptable. So please bear with any technical imperfections in the following video as you join me in congratulating this year's nominees and recipients of the Chancellor's Award for Exemplary Teaching.
In 1986, Joby Rushing established the Chancellor's Award for Exemplary Teaching to honor and elevate those faculty members who consistently perform at the highest level, contribute to their students' successes, and demonstrate an ongoing commitment to the fundamental mission of Tarrant County College. Since the award was established, Tarrant County College has continued this annual tradition to underscore the critical role our faculty members play in changing lives for the better. Given the environment in which we find ourselves today, recognizing faculty for their dedication in teaching and excellence is more important than ever. I've been inspired by the resilience of our faculty in light of the COVID-19, going above and beyond to ensure students were successful amidst a rapidly changing landscape. More importantly, faculty members continued to perform exemplary levels in the areas of instruction, service to the college and community, and inquiry and scholarship. As an institution, we are only successful when our students are successful. My thanks to each of you for continuing our important mission of being one college that is student ready to serve our community.
Oh, why hello there. I'm Lindsay Davis, instructor of English, and I am proud to introduce the three strong women who are the South Campus finalists for 2020. Ms. Sophie George, instructor of electronics, Dr. Sharia Taylor, associate professor of education, and Dr. Kelly Wiggins, associate professor of biology. The 2020 recipient of the Chancellor's Award for Exemplary Teaching from South Campus is Dr. Sharia Taylor. Sharia has been monumentally important to the growth of the education program. She's designed a cornerstone honors degree and forged partnerships with local programs that now actively recruit our TCC students. She has tirelessly served her peers as South Campus Faculty Association president and advocated for faculty issues as chair of the college-wide JCC. Her students call her an inspiration and a picture of what they hope to be one day. Sharia does so much for the college and community, all while being a super mom to her precious, energetic, and very bright 6-year-old son, Dylan. She honestly is an inspiration to all of us. Please join me in congratulating your 2020 award winner from South Campus, Dr. Sharia Taylor. Whoop, whoop, yay, Sharia.
Hello, I am Randy Sala, Assistant Professor of Business, Tarrant County College Northeast, and it is my pleasure to introduce to you the 2020 nominees for the Chancellors Award for Exemplary Teaching. Dr. Jean Maines, Professor of Biology, Miss Angela Schendal, Instructor of Mental Health, and Mr. Stan Paschal, Instructor of Music. The 2020 recipient for the Chancellor's Award of Exemplary Teaching from Northeast is Dr. Jean Maines, Professor of Biology. Jean Maines serves as the driving force for continual curriculum enhancement and the assurance that both biology for science majors 1 and 2 remain current and continually evolve with student-driven pedagogies. Her drive for continual curriculum improvement is realized in her student outcomes. If there were a theme given to her teaching style, it would be of inquiry and critical thinking. Jean actively serves our community on behalf of Tarrant County College. She was part of the team involved with writing and receiving the University of Texas System's Lewis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation. Your recipient from Northeast is Professor of Biology, Jean Maines. Congratulations, Jean.
Good morning. I'm Jay Simpson, Associate Professor of Business, and it is my pleasure to introduce the 2020 nominees from TCC's Northwest Campus. First, Ms. Angela Chilton, Associate Professor of English, Dr. Jason Frawley, Professor of History, and Mr. Daiju Hoshino, Instructor of Biology. And the 2020 recipient of the Chancellor's Award for Exemplary Teaching from Northwest Campus is Angela Chilton, Associate Professor of English. Angela is known across the campus for her tireless dedication and commitment to her students, to her colleagues, to her campus, and to TCC as a whole. She has served us in so many capacities, from department chair to QEP leader to club sponsor, and of course, instructor. She is a longtime educational leader and hero to many of us on Northwest Campus, including myself. Angela is very engaged in her campus and her community. She serves on a variety of committees, but most importantly, she serves her students with tireless dedication. Your recipient is Angela Chilton. Congratulations, Angela.
Hi, I'm Allison Hodges, Instructor of Culinary Arts, and it's my pleasure to introduce the 2020 nominees from the TCC Southeast Campus. Dr. Charles DeSaussure, Associate Professor, Computer Science, Ms. Priti Patel, Assistant Professor, Mathematics, Mr. Frank Allenpal, Assistant Professor, Hospitality Management. The 2020 recipient for the Southeast Campus is Mr. Allenpal, Assistant Professor of Hospitality Management. Since Alan's arrival at TCC, he has increased his program's enrollment, and in the past 2 years, it's up by 30%. Alan continually connects his students to the real-world experiences. He is a fixture at numerous community service events like Empty Bowls, Taste of Arlington, and the annual holiday dinner for the Arlington Life Shelter, as well as many on-campus events hosted by the college. Mr. Powell perfectly demonstrates the faculty spirit to his program, his college, his students, and to his community. Again, your recipient for the Southeast Campus is Mr. Alan Powell. Congratulations, Alan. I'm so very proud of you.
Hello, I'm Angel Fernandez, Associate Professor of Art, and it is my pleasure to introduce the 2020 nominees from TCC Trinity River. Dr. Audra Lugo, Professor of Chemistry, Ms. Cindy Mask, Assistant Professor of Surgical Technology, and Ms. Brianna Catherine Woodruff, Assistant Professor of Nursing. 2020 recipient of the Chancellors Award for Exemplary Teaching from Trinity River is Ms. Cindy Mask, Assistant Professor of Surgical Technology. As Program Director, Cindy Mask is central to the Surgical Technology Program's 100% pass rate on the National Certification Exam, with 97% of students offered employment prior to graduation. She led the development of a new AAS degree and served as the Faculty Association President for Trinity River and did an amazing job. Cindy is most noted for her community service and instills the same passion in her students. Her glove project has provided 10,000 pairs of winter gloves to domestic abuse shelters and has spread to 9 other colleges and several Metroplex businesses. Additionally, she raised thousands of dollars for the Out of Darkness Suicide Prevention Walk and made hundreds of homemade masks on short notice so TCC librarians could distribute laptops and tablets to students for remote learning. Her students say it best: anyone who crosses paths with her is a better person because of it. They did not agree anymore with their statements. The recipient from Trinity River campus is Cindy Mask. Congratulations, Cindy, on your winning this amazing award.
Hello, I'm Allegra Davis Hanna, and I teach English at the Connect campus, and it is my pleasure to introduce the 2020 nominees from TCC Connect. Mrs. Rebecca Adderley, Associate Professor of Speech, Ms. Julia Quarles, Instructor of English, Ms. Natalie Russell, Instructor of Science. The 2020 recipient of the Chancellor's Award for Exemplary Teaching from Connect is Natalie Russell, Instructor of Science. Natalie joined TCC as an adjunct, developing and teaching hybrid biology courses. As Department Chair for Connect, she has developed an online biology course template and instructional resource kit for her department. Students say her courses are challenging, but she's always available and provides engaging video lectures that make learning fun. Natalie eagerly contributes to faculty conferences, National Distance Learning Week, the Learning Commons Advisory Panel, and numerous campus and district communities. During the pandemic, Natalie rapidly developed MS Teams training, empowering her peers to collaborate remotely and continue serving students throughout the campus closures. She has also helped design and facilitate online teaching training for faculty in preparation for this fall. Ms. Russell's peers and students admire that she truly enjoys teaching and seeing students succeed. Our recipient from Connect Campus is Natalie Russell.
So as we can see from the chat, we have cause for celebration. So we certainly congratulate all of our nominees and our winners. You are all winners, so we're glad to celebrate you this morning. But we also want to send a special shout out to our Trinity River nominees and our winner, Cindy Mass. So way to go, and all those good things. So we're going to transition to a informal conversation about the 3G 8P principles. And so if you have questions, what I'll try to do is just make sure I can communicate those to the respective champions. We'll collect those if you have questions. The idea is not for this to be as comprehensive, but just to give you some highlights of what's going on with the work. Many of you are already involved in quite a bit of the work in terms of the various principal work that is. So as we continue to make progress, we hopefully will have individuals plugged in, and you certainly can reference inside TCC for more formal updates. But wanted to give, just in very conversational style, some highlights as to what's going on as it relates to the principles. You can go to the next slide. You're probably going to hear that a lot. Next slide, next slide. You'll hear that. Is that the first slide? Okay. All right, so there's the commitment slip, and I'm going to walk you through these, so don't think of me as the presenter, as the expert, but just kind of give you, everyone can read the slides, just give you a sense or a taste of what's going on as it relates to the work. There you can see the commitment statement, and we understand the emphasis on one college, serving the community, and being a student-ready college. And as many of you know, that is guiding all of the work that we're doing. One college, to be student-ready, and to serve the community. And as this work evolves, we are really framing our understanding of what those concepts mean and how they apply to everything that we do within the classroom and without. So those are some things, the critical terms there that I think will resonate throughout the work that we're doing, and really the work that you've been involved in as faculty and staff. Next slide. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the 8 principles today, and that's a graphic representation of the principles. And at the core, there's the 8, and here's the update. Let's get started. So we'll start with Learning Commons. The Learning Commons, and you'll see 2 graphic representations there. The clever piece, as described, is really the overarching service model of how we will serve the students. It took several iterations to get to that point, and a number of individuals were involved with really identify how we will serve students within the context of the Learning Commons. Spent a lot of time talking about what the Learning Commons is and is not. Some folks thought that the Learning Commons was just the library. In fact, it's all of the academic support, most of the academic support defined by learning labs, supplemental instruction, and the library. So that's been a part of the conversation. And then the service model, which I don't know that you can see well, but the service model is what we do to serve our students. And each layer of the service model provides an approach by which we will serve students when they enter the Learning Commons space. So that just gives you a nice summary of the work today. Learning Commons are flexible, dynamic environments which bring folks together in those spaces that I've just described. And it's really about supporting success. And it provides opportunities, tools, and all members of the college community will be engaged in the Learning Commons, faculty included. So when we talk about discovery and partnerships, that's one of the areas where there will be some discussion, some engagement as well. You can go to the next slide. This slide here, although it may be a challenge to read this slide, is there any way to make that and still see the interpreter? That's a little better. We can try that. So here is just a graphic representation of the system of engagement that's been used to really advance this work. As you can see, there have been external engagement. At the top, you'll see where we've engaged with other institutions. We've collected best practices, key learnings from other places as well. An advisory panel was established. And then what you see there are the focus groups: access, support, discovery, and enablers that will continue to guide our work. And a number of individuals are associated with those areas. There are focus teams, lots of engagement as it relates to folks who are involved there. And then the internal engagement, yes, we've had student engagement sessions, faculty engagement sessions. There have been generator sessions, workshops, institutes, etc., all around developing our understanding of the Learning Commons, but also helping us understand how to design the Learning Commons experience for students. You go to the next slide. So some of our planning milestones here: we've defined the vision, what it is and what it isn't. We use design thinking techniques to really assess and analyze the needs of users, anticipated users of the Learning Commons. There have been opportunities to generate and refine ideas. This has been certainly an iterative process as we have made progress with some of the recommendations that have come forth out of the Learning Commons. We've documented quite a bit of work. We have a repository of data and our findings associated with this work, and also designed and planned. And we're building out and applying the service model with the various projects that are happening across the district. The first project being the Northwest campus, and then soon we'll be working on the Southeast campus in terms of applying the Learning Commons model and prototype as we build out those spaces. As you know, there's a full scale rebuild capital development piece at the Northwest campus, and then at Southeast it probably be a very comprehensive renovation project with some buildings developed as well. So this work will guide those projects. You can go to the next slide. So now I'll transition to ILI. Now ILI has taken a position of empathy to look at what TCC is doing from the lens of the student rather than what TC thinks is best for them. The key interrelated components of ILI are pedagogy, technology, and space work teams, each supported by focus teams, with pedagogy as the primary driver in influencing the type of cutting-edge technology to adopt and the type of space configurations for our formal learning spaces in the classroom, undergirded by professional development. The TCC definition of pedagogy put forth by faculty as integrative learning, which fosters an interdisciplinary, transformative, and collaborative environment that facilitates the conversion of theory into practice to develop world-ready students and provides teaching beyond the content of a particular subject and rather the skills which employers desire. The relationship between ILI and guided pathways is really around how we meet students where they are by using approaches based on the neuroscience of learning, designing versatile spaces, and adopting cutting-edge technology. Some of this is also driven by the selected pedagogy of engaged learning, facilitates connections. Students need to apply what they learn to become world-ready students, and some other areas as well. You can go to the next slide. So based on our assessment, and in this case, ILI's assessment of digital collaboration tools, both currently in use amongst faculty as well as what is available in the market, MS Teams is a strong choice for ILI, and we, Workplace Environment, have worked hard to provide a strong choice in which they've worked hard to provide for faculty, staff, and students. So you see some examples here. MS Teams is not a replacement for the LMS, though it has a lot of the same features. Each faculty member determines for themselves which tools to use and how to do so for student instruction. So you have some key information there that can help you kind of sort through some of the work that they're doing as it relates to working with digital tools for student instruction. Next slide. Now we're going to transition to the high school's principal. Over the last year, the high school's advisory panel, and I should have probably mentioned that the ILI principal, the champion is Dr. Zarina Blankenbaker. The Learning Commons principal, the champion is Sean Madison. And the high school's principal, the champion is Dr. Bill Coppola. Again, most of this information in terms of just giving you an overview of the principles are included in Inside TCC. So if you want a more robust, comprehensive kind of definition of these principles, you certainly are welcome to reference that website. And there's some additional information updates in those sites as well. So as we talk about the high school's principal, over the last year, the high school's advisory panel has identified several areas of focus that have culminated into a series of recommendations supported by the research of the work teams you see right here. And they have several work teams that you can see: dual credit delivery models, dual credit current and future state, personas, which have been profoundly helpful in informing the work of really all of the principles, educational partnerships, etc. As the high school population grows, our partnerships will become more critical. So by building stronger relationships, the high school's principal, TCC, will have an opportunity to make a difference in our community as a catalyst for educational and career advancement. Through the convergence of the high school's principal work, TCC will be the foundation for education in Tarrant County, not the alternative. So really trying to streamline quite a bit of this work that's occurring in terms of our engagement with our ISDs. As many of you all know, we have a number of ISDs. I believe the number is somewhere in the area of 26. I'm sure someone will correct me later. Maybe Tara Furman will correct me in terms of all the ISDs that Tarrant County College serves, in this district. And it's a lot in this county. It's a lot. So trying to, get a system in place where we can be, responsive and streamlined in our responsiveness to our various high school partners would be helpful. Go to the next slide. So the student experience, and this particular principal is led by Dr. Kenya Ayers, has accomplished a great deal over the past 2 years and has shifted their primary focus to actually student onboarding. The advisory panel has prioritized the work related to this effort: welcome centers and tours, advising, registration, financial aid, student personas, guided pathways, as well as focused on the employee learning and development aspect of becoming a student-ready college. And you'll be hearing a lot about empathy training and professional development workshops in this space in some of the weeks to come. Our goal is to remove the logistical, philosophical, and structural barriers that our students face when coming to TCC. In doing so, we will impact retention and graduation rates, student satisfaction, the trajectory of the lives of our students, their families, and the economic growth of our communities. So a number of coming attractions as it relates to the student experience. Thank you, Rosalind Walker. 24 ISDs, 80 plus schools for the entire district. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. So as you can imagine, we certainly need to have systems in place to make sure that we can be consistent in our responses to high schools, but also consistent in providing the kinds of experiences, learning experiences, that are consistent across our campuses. So the student experience, high schools, ILI, Learning Commons, we're all joined, collaborating and making sure we do provide that kind of consistent experience. You can go to the next slide. So there's been some recent progress in continuing to have the discussion about the student experience, beginning with the development of training by the Personas work team in conjunction with the Center for Teaching and Learning on empathy around who our students are and the journey they go through. the contribution of the Welcome Centers and Campus Tours teams to the philosophy of how we welcome students onto our TCC campuses and showcase the opportunities they will have as students. The team also connected with the architects to ensure that the research is taken into consideration as it relates to the Northwest Rebuild project, as well as the Southeast Campus redevelopment piece. In addition, the need to address and remove student barriers in a more rapid manner prompted the formation of the Rapid Response Team, a strategic operational alignment between ISSM, Student Experience, the Provost Office, Academic and Student Services, along with Web Communications. And a lot of that work is kind of how we are reacting quickly to be responsive, especially during this time of remote learning and the current state that we're in as a college. In the fall of 2020, you can expect to see more recommendations coming from the Student Experience teams. Among these, a staffing model to support advising across our campuses, as well as additional work on equity and inclusion. They also are exploring ways to expand communication around the work of the Student Experience principal. And that really is what all of the principals are doing in terms of how best to communicate this work. And it is quite a bit of work that's been done to date. So next slide. So when we get into the ISSM, Integrated Student Success Model, this principle is as it suggests. It really is looking at how we are integrating various systems, departments, etc., to facilitate the success of our students. And really the success of our students is the success of our organization, is the success of TCC. So they're looking at, I have to coin that. I made that up off the top of my head. Let me write that down. So really that's a good way of kind of looking at the approach that they're taking. Another way of looking at this work is through the appreciative lens, and they're using an appreciative model. And this model focuses on the assets the students bring to TCC rather than the deficits. And that's critically important distinction there. By discovering what knowledge, skills, and abilities they bring to TCC, we can better support and provide student access to the abundance of resources and services that they will need to be successful at each of our campuses. ISSM is driving towards a more integrated model across the district in terms of the resources available for our students. When we began this journey 18 months ago, ISSM discovered the college has over 340 resources spread across all our campuses. In some instances, we offer identical services under different naming conventions. Some are boutique resources created for very small groups of students. Some may no longer be functional, but are still listed as viable resources. And these are just a few examples that have been creating a lot of confusion for our students and for our faculty and staff trying to connect students with the best resources. And you'll see this, there are multiple names for where you will get writing support. There are multiple names for example, the Veterans Centers. Not that there haven't been recommendations. However, that's kind of the work that they're working on. They're working with a number of groups to kind of help with even helping students get connected to those resources, so that if you go to one resource, a pantry on one campus, there ought to be a pantry on another campus or what have you, because we are one college, one TCC. So those are some of the things that they're thinking about and thinking through. For ease of understanding and use, they've sorted resources of the college into 4 areas. And those 4 areas are enrollment support, personal support, learning support, and social support. So ISSM is responsible for improving the resources you see in the bottom section of this visual. emergency fund, child care, student employment, to include internships and apprenticeships, co-curricular engagement, and student well-being. So they are working in collaboration with other 3G 8P principals to align the resources they are improving and integrating into the integrated student success model. The student experience principal is working in the areas of student onboarding, admissions and enrollment. Integrated instructional learning environments is leading the learning support area with collaboration from Learning Commons principal on topics of supplemental instruction, academic support, and others. Go to the next slide. So the cabinet has approved the 4 ISSM recommendations to date, identified on the left side in green. And they're excited about how these improvements and new opportunities for students have moved quickly through research, ideation, design, and the recommendation process. 2 of these recommendations, emergency fund and childcare, are now fully implemented. We expect student employment and TRIO are moving into prototyping and implementation in late August. We have 8 more recommendations that are projected to be present to our cabinet in fall 2020. And there are other resources being developed around well-being, et cetera, recommendations rather being developed around well-being, et cetera. Just I don't know if Julie Amon is on the call. Is she on the call? If she is.
Of course, sir.
If she is, I just want to, as you are speaking of TRIO, the Trinity River is now the recipient, as you heard on yesterday, of the TRIO grant. And if you did not get a chance to hear, Julie knows I'm prepping her for something. If you did not hear her summary, if she could just take a moment and really just talk about just how important the TRIO grant and work will be, not only to TCC, but to Trinity River. She and a team were very instrumental in working on developing the proposal, working with our grants office, et cetera, and others. I don't know all the individuals, and I will get into trouble if I start trying to name everyone, especially with Rosalind Walker on the call. So just want to make sure folks have a quick understanding of that TRIO piece, because that's going to be right here at the Trinity River campus. You mind if I impose on you to share a bit, Julie, about the TRIO?
Of course not. No, it's really big and great news. TRIO Student Support Services is one of the programs that's a family of programs like Upward Bound and Talent Search, which comprise all the TRIO family of programs. And we're very fortunate to be, a recipient of a new grant here at Trinity River. South Campus has had one for about 20 years. And the TRIO Student Support Services program is designed to support college students who are traditionally low income, first generation, and also students with disabilities. Most programs like ours it's designed to serve a small number of students. Will be 140 students. And it really, the kind of core service that we're providing is holistic student support, focusing on intrusive academic advising, constant connection to academic support, resources and services, a lot of connection between the TRIO office and the faculty who are teaching the students in the program. So the students who meet the eligibility criteria and then want to become part of TRIO also have to make a commitment to really maintaining that ongoing engagement with the TRIO Student Support Services staff. And when those students do, we know nationally, regionally, locally, that when those students make that commitment and work with their TRIO staff, use the resources that we have for all students on campus, their outcomes are significantly improved for students who are in that same kind of profile but who aren't using that. So TRIO is a kind of a great model upon which to build sources of support for all of our students. So even though it's a small population, there's a lot of good that can come out of the services that we'll be providing. And it'll also be great to have other team members joining the Trinity River community who are going to have that focus and expertise on serving that population of students.
Thank you, Dr. Amen.
You're welcome.
And thank you, that gave me an opportunity to really drink some water too. All right, so go to the next slide. So I want to talk a little bit about, and we're almost finished with the slides that we're going to review for today. The campus character and quality. And the principle is comprised primarily of three major work teams, and that's campus identity, and you can see the information there on the slide, landscapes for learning, and campus of the future. Each team focuses on creating a one college campus environment that equitably and consistently serves students, faculty, staff, and community members. And again, one of the things, for example, this team focuses on creating a systematic, with landscapes for learning, a systematic approach for spaces outside the traditional classroom to ensure consistent quality and standards. To give an example of landscapes for learning, this team has been involved working with our team, the campus leadership team, on, how do we reimagine the space where the fountain was right here off in the plaza area. So those are the kinds of things in the conversations. Can we repurpose that space so that we can transition it to a space that will, for learning, for all types of student engagement, for socialization or what have you? And then what does that look like? And what does that feel like? And what does that design look like? So those are the types of conversations where we confer with the principals, the champions, etc., to really get a feel and a sense for what's possible, but also to make sure we're doing it consistently across all of the projects at all of the campuses as well. So those are a few ways in which campus character and quality are really helping to inform some of the work and some of the projects at the various campuses. We're now, you heard where we were talking about wayfinding and signage, and many of our students don't know how to get from point A to point B. Well, campus character and quality are taking the lead on looking at a comprehensive, tech-enhanced way to help students find their way around our campuses, from class to class, etc. And those of you who spend a lot of time when we're not social distancing on the Trinity River campus, you know how difficult it can be for our students to navigate floor to floor. I said our students and some of you, quite frankly, to get from point A to point B, me included, because sometimes I forget where West Fork is versus East Fork. So the wayfinding will certainly definitely be helpful. Next slide. So the campus identity work team is focused on wayfinding. I guess I should have looked at the next slide before I started talking about wayfinding, right? The campus identity work team is focused on wayfinding and will be moving forward quickly this fall, beginning with the Northwest and Southeast campus. Landscapes for Learning will be presenting the outdoor learning philosophy focused around a consistent atmosphere and availability of spaces for students on each campus. And I made reference to the plaza area at Trinity River. Campus of the Future will be addressing parking issues for students and staff and equity with bus and bike transportation on each campus. And that are the Trinity River parking issues have also been supported, have been a part of those conversations as well. Next slide. The SFU, Scheduling and Facility Utilization. The philosophy is to create a college-wide, multi-year, student-centered schedule informed by pathways to support student equity, access, and success. The advisory panel's 3 active work teams at this time are schedule design, scheduling for completion, and technology tools. Go to the next slide, please. So each of the 3 SFU work teams have made significant progress in the last several months. The design team worked with IT to develop 2 new schedule analysis reports and a new section order form to be sent to academic support services to do the section data entry. The scheduling of completion work team had a faculty assignment contracting task force that worked across campuses to standardize assignment, contracting, and stipend formulas used to pay faculty. The user manuals for entering contracts and stipend pay have also been updated. The technology tools, and Dr. Mills, I'm preparing you, I may ask you to chime in on from your lens, have, as to how some of this has been implemented in academic affairs as well. The technology tools work team made great strides this year working with IT to create synchronization routines, to maintain cross-system integrity of classroom information, to create a phase 1 section order form, and reach near completion on web-based section order form, and joined with workspace environment to look at the scheduling of non-instructional spaces. Additionally, SFU led a cross-principal and business units team in documenting the different tools and requirements for capturing student participation in various activities and providing a business case document to inform upcoming technology projects. And finally, the SFU has developed a protocols manual to guide various scheduling and facilities utilization practices, along with a supporting terminology glossary. And perhaps Dr. Mills can give us some practical examples of how this is playing out in some of the work that he or maybe Tara Furman or Jeanette Laredo are doing, or others, as it relates to the scheduling process.
Thank you, Dr. Madison. I got some feedback. I was on my phone listening. So, one of the major things that I've encountered and that we've encountered is the specific classifications of classrooms in terms of the different levels, whether there are large classrooms or extra large classrooms, and scheduling those as such. As you know, we refitted we were one of the leaders in having our large group instruction classrooms updated through ILLI principles this time last year. The other thing that's on the horizon and is a point of discussion is kind of shifting our focus from utilizing our facilities through the lens of what is a minimum number of students allowable for a class to make, converting to a mindset where we're trying to utilize 75% of all the class of each classroom. Now, we have not implemented that yet, and we are still working with that 15 as a lower level cutoff for most classes. So I just want to be clear on that. But that I do believe that the 75% use fill rate is something that's coming. And I think we need to be prepared for that, but we are not yet prepared to ease into that at this point, but that's definitely coming. Let me look at some other things. That's about what I can come up with at this point. Tara may be able to jump in and talk about the Orbit system that's new.
Sure, absolutely. Orbit is a new reporting tool that has been in pilot mode for the last 6 months or so, and we have pushed out to all the folks who do section building 2 reports, a scheduling development tool that kind of looks at both of them look at past semesters. One of them provides really granular detail to the number of courses that were offered by time of day, by 8-week period, by 14-week period. It also looks at the number of sections that were canceled so that we can kind of identify trends a little bit more easily to know that, well, maybe we don't offer second 8-week courses after 2 p.m. because they don't make. And so I think that we're able to be more intentional with the courses that we are developing. Also with the SFU and high school work teams together, we're trying to make sure that our high school partners understand a little bit more intentionally how how much we rely on them to follow our schedule and to make sure that their sections are being developed. I think any department chair here that works with dual credit would love to know that we are trying to be much more intentional with our high school partners in building those sections.
Thank you, Tara. And then I would tag onto that too, that we are reinventing ourselves in terms of how sections get built. There's a proposal that's almost in use where we're going to have a more centralized section building process that's going to streamline section building, kind of like what Dr. Madison described for some student services, a survey of all the different ways that sections were being built and optimized. We were all over the place, and so there's a new model about to go into place that's going to greatly simplify that process. That's what I could offer.
No, thank you for, and sometimes it's and I place the certain individuals on the spot because sometimes it helps to see how this work is being realized, I guess, within the various departments and areas, and there's more to come. So I just knew that you all had some quick examples. So thank you, Julie, Tom, Tara, for chiming in. If you can go to the next slide, please. So let's talk a little about workspace environments. TCC has adopted a workspace environments neighborhood concept based on the philosophy that supports well-being, fosters collaboration, inspires creativity, increases productivity, inspires creativity, increases productivity, and models the future for our students, which are the 5 key drivers of the workspace environments principle. Additional driver notes include, for example, with the key drivers, support well-being, in terms of folks believes happy, healthy people feel better, produce better outcomes. Foster collaboration, cross-pollination is the key. 2 minds are certainly better than 1, and etc. So you see some of the key drivers there, floor plans, some of the key drivers there. These neighborhoods will consist of personal, staff workspaces, focus rooms, resource areas, rejuvenation spaces, in addition to open and enclosed collaboration space, and will be planned with departmental work styles, functional needs, and adjacencies in mind for employees to feel their best and better serve our students. Several site visits took place in the previous academic year while conducting research of similar collaborative workspace concepts, and included visits to WeWork Fort Worth, Lone Star College, Lone Star College, Kingwood in the Houston area, and UNT Frisco. This year, Workspace Environments is excited to continue to advance the work and development of additional philosophies and implementation approaches that will continue to inform the development of workspaces in partnership with the 7 additional principles. So that's what, and again, this is like a prototype in concept. It doesn't necessarily mean it looks exactly like this, but this gives you a good sense of the philosophy that's being used, and that will be applied to several projects moving forward. The first project obviously will be the MOC Move. They're using and incorporating this neighborhood concept. Technically, TR has always incorporated some semblance of some variation of this neighborhood concept, but it's not to be confused with just having partitions up. There's a little bit more science and structure and strategy to how that neighborhood concept evolves within a space. It really is to promote collaboration and all those things as it relates to what you see there with respect to, for example, well-being. I had an opportunity, I was in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I had an opportunity to see an organization apply this particular philosophy The entire leadership team, we were supposed to meet in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but there was a snowstorm, and a certain individual thought, I'll go early so I can, visit Grand Valley State University. And then that's when they shut down the airport in Dallas, and I was left there alone to navigate a snowy Grand Rapids, Michigan. So, but I did get a chance to see some models of this environment, and I was just floored by what I saw, especially when it came down to well-being and the use of biophilia and green spaces within an entity, as opposed to just something that we look out and see. So very excited about what's possible with workspace environment. I know there's still some collaboration going on. If you go to the next slide. So their focus areas, the workspace environments principle is guided by these philosophies: physical, digital, employee experience, and workspace transition. Each of these areas of focus have team members working to develop philosophies and supplemental implementation approaches that will inform the design and development of new construction and renovated spaces on projects moving forward at TCC, which I kind of mentioned before. Several philosophies and plans indicated with a check mark in blue font have been endorsed by the college and are informing the future work. So you see there the district move, South Campus Dean Suite, physical workspace philosophy, the technology workspace philosophy, Microsoft Teams adoption, which is one of the reasons why we're using Microsoft Teams as our primary digital collaboration tool and digital collaboration. So you see that there. The workspace environment team will continue to advance on the efforts of the remaining items, some of which is represented on this slide, over the next academic year, and will continue to collaborate with the other 7 principals in our collective efforts to function as one college, ensuring that we are student ready while always serving the community. Next slide. All right, so that's a very informal kind of discussion about the work. Daniel Hopkins, I'll keep that in mind next time, sir. This is just an informal conversation about the work. But again, anything you really want to know about the work and progress and updates, there's the landing page. And it includes the overview, the highlights, the principal pages, resources, videos, and some calendars and timelines around some of the work that we're doing. And as you have questions, please reach out to those champions. I should have mentioned that the champion for CCQ is Vice Chancellor Reginald Gates. The champion for workplace environment is Dr. Carlos Morales. And did I miss anyone? And the champion for ISSM principal is Dr. Pete Jordan. I think I covered all the champions. And the champion for SFU is Provost Dr. Elva LeBlanc. So just want to make sure you also know who the champions are. And if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to the champions with those questions, and your thoughts, your comments, your concerns. And they will be as responsive. What we traditionally do is we discuss some of the concerns, some of those questions as part of our All Champions meeting, and we meet 2 or 3 times a month talking about some of the things that I've discussed with you this morning. So, is there a question? Faculty on work group and stakeholders are well aware of the research. Okay, that might be an inside something. Maybe I'm eavesdropping on a conversation there. Any questions? If you have a question, you're certainly more, I think we're not in the live event. We're actually on the MS Teams standard. So if you have a question, you can simply unmute your mic and ask your question. If I can answer it, I'm happy to do so. If I cannot, I'm happy to jot it down and hopefully find an answer for you as we continue to move forward. Oh, go to the next slide. Let's make sure that that's the last slide. How about that? Okay, good. Thank you. And if this, this was titled a Fireside Chat, and after I thought about it, I would have tried to bring an image of a fireplace, but I figured it's already hot enough outside. So maybe next time I'll do a poolside chat, and that might be more appropriate this time of year, or a lakefront chat, or something along those lines. Uh-oh, there's the fire. Uh-oh. Oh goodness. Riverside. That's duh. Thank you, Lauren Simmons, for that. Riverside, right there in your face. Riverside. We'll remember that for next time. Riverside chat. So let's make sure we call it that. That's kind of cool. I like that. Any other questions? Any comments? You're welcome to unmute. All righty. Well, I don't know if there is, I don't have the schedule in front of me. I think right now we transition into whatever it is you need to do to prepare. I want to make sure I'm not discipline meetings. Okay. So, Tom, you want to say anything about transitioning into discipline meetings, or Jeanette?
No, everyone should really know where they're going. The discipline meetings are arranged by faculty with their own links, and they do their own thing.
Okay. All righty. Well, have a great rest of your morning and afternoon. And again, if you have those questions, please, by all means, feel free to shoot them to the champions or send them our way. Take care.